So we're talking about the rapid repair method, and it's our little system to resolve conflicts in 5 minutes, whether someone's helping or not, or the other person's participating or not. And so I was sharing about how this came up because I didn't know how to do this. And then I saw Tony talking to this man, and this conversation, it took like 5 minutes, and Tony's resolved this issue for him, and he figured out how to get through this conflict. I thought, wow, this like gave me hope. And it was so important at that moment that I had hope, but it didn't give me a strategy yet. It didn't give me a way to fix it. So I started really pursuing how to fix this in relationships. And I read so many books. I can't even keep track of how many books I read in the previous relationship, but I wasn't doing anything with it. And like one of the big things I took away, especially now, is that education without application is just entertainment. And so I think now that I have that look at it, so well, what's really important? It's putting the work to work. And so go learn something and test it. And so that's what Annie and I did because I left the previous relationship, it wasn't working. Coming to the new relationship, same issue. And then I started looking around, I realized I'm creating the same issues everywhere. And that's when I realized that perhaps I'm the one that created the problem. And that's so important. By the way, I'm going to lay down a foundation, three foundational principles, three foundational, thoughts for you. They're so important. You probably want to write these down because if you do, and then you take it in, you might create a completely different life. And the first one, again, is that I created the problem. This is about responsibility. I own it. And the reason that's so important is because if you don't do that, that means that you have zero power to change your circumstances. You have no ability to cause any amount of change. If you say, you know what, I created this problem, now you have power. And it's the foundation of the second principle, which is, well, if I created the problem, that means I'm also the solution. It means that if I change, other people might change also. That is so powerful once we take it in. I actually went back and had a conversation with my kid's mom, Stephanie, trying to understand, well, how did I show up during our relationship? And she gave me hours of feedback. It was like 3 hours of feedback. And it was, yeah, it was pretty tough. It was uncomfortable. But all I had to do was say, thank you. Is there more? And she kept giving me more information. And then what that helped me learn is that I was really, really good at building walls. And then I was expecting other people to take these walls down. The issue is that I'm the one that put up the walls. They're my walls. So I'm the only one that can take it down. Again, I'm the solution. I mean, if you think about it for a second, imagine building a wall that nobody else in the world can see. They don't even know it exists really. And then making them responsible to take it down. That's just ridiculous. It's absurd to think that that's possible. But there's these thick emotional walls that we put up. So then how do I take it down is the next question. Well, that's foundational principle number 3. And that's a big part of who we are as a team here, me and Annie with our company, with LoveJAAM. And it's be love. Being love is the solution to our problems. It's coming into the conversation from a loving place first. It was a huge shift for me. And what does that look like? It might look like assuming positive intent. It might look like understanding where the other person is in this conversation. What are your thoughts on that, Ben?
It could just be accepting where they are, like you said, and not expecting them to be any different, just loving them as they are.
Yes. Yeah, could you expand on that?
I think sometimes we have expectations for how someone else would behave or love us in a certain way. And we all have these rules, right? Everyone has rules that are a little bit different. And to us, for me, I might think that my rule for love is just standard or just everyone, like it's just common sense.
Right.
And sometimes I know, especially with my parents, when I put that expectation on them, well, I don't really know what their rules are. And I know they come from a completely different history and background. And so when I put that expectation on them, that isn't necessarily loving, right? It's like I'm expecting them to behave in a certain way.
I love that. And then that expectation is where we can actually get let down.
Yes. And that's why we create a lot of pain and suffering within ourselves because of our unmet expectations.
Yes. And notice it's like it's our expectations. You said that so beautifully that no one else even knows more than likely what our expectation is. But we have it of them, and then we're disappointed that they didn't meet the expectation that we set that we didn't tell them.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
One of the concepts that came up in our mastermind
Mhm.
was that we are responsible for our own needs. And so when we go into a conversation with a loved one, before that, knowing that I have all the love and the certainty and the safety and whatever it is that I'm looking for, I could provide that for myself. And I need to provide that for myself first so that when I enter the conversation, I'm not trying to get safety or get love from the other person. I can just be there to give because I'm so filled up already. I think that's one of the biggest breakthroughs of, I think, some of the women in our group. And that was really powerful. It's just being able to fill ourselves up and to feel so good doing it so that we are overflowing and giving to others.
It's a huge shift. And it's really paramount that we first come into, especially conflict, with the state of where we're being loving, where we're not trying to make the other person wrong because we communicate differently. Our tone changes, our body language changes. And even just because our thoughts have changed, now the way we're going to communicate is going to change because I love this person. I don't want them to hurt. So, what that might look like, let's say that I'm in a really bad state. In fact, this is interesting. It happens like every Friday morning, right before this call. So, I woke up and I woke up a little bit later than I intended to. And when I came into the office in that state and I saw, hey, this is not set up, like right now I'm calm about it because it's set up now. But I was in a little bit of like, God, I was feeling frustrated. And I was like, why does it set up this way? Why is Annie setting up? And it's my desk. Why is my desk a mess? This sucks. And so I went out, I had a quick conversation with her and just expressed my frustration because I love her. And so I let her know. The first thing I said is, baby, I'm just want to let you know I'm a little bit grumpy and frustrated right now. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just feeling this way. And I'm frustrated because I want to get the office set up. Like these thoughts are coming up. Cool. So I didn't blame her or any of that, at least not in front of her. I did it, I did it when I was in the office. Like, why isn't it set up? But it was a quick reset. And that's the reason this 5 minute solution I'm going to share with you in a moment works is because how I shifted first. If I come into the conversation and I'm still frustrated and angry, then no system's going to work. Nothing. I don't care who's out there. Like if I come in and use the SO method, Gottmans are fantastic, by the way. But if I come in and say, I got a lot of tension in my back and my neck, and what I'm feeling is angry, and what I want you to do is clean your damn desk. That may not end the conflict, right? Annie's having a nice smile on that because she knows I'm playful right now. But if I wasn't being playful, she's likely then going to shift into fear. And then she's going to start feeling sad. And so now I, as the man in the conversation, might be looking and say, God, now I've got to deal with that. That's something I hear from a lot of men. It's like, now I've got to deal with her emotions because I was trying to share something. Yeah, I was sharing it from an angry place. And so, of course, she's going to get scared. That is what anger does for feminine. So the first shift is just be love. Come in and say, baby, I just want to let you know there's this thing that's bothering me. And you've probably even noticed it that, you've probably noticed little things with my body. You've probably noticed my tone. You've probably noticed these little things. And I just want to let you know what's going on. Can I just share what's going on? So now I've asked for permission and given our grounding. And by the way, we're good. I just want to let you know we're totally good. I have this thing that's bothering me. It's not really about you. It's about me. Cool. Now, where's your fear level if I come in like that?
No fear, it's about you.
Perfect. So see how I've already diffused the situation. And if I'm asking for permission to have this conversation, just to share with you, not say, hey, baby, we need to talk, which by the way is the name of this show. Isn't that interesting? But it's not we need to talk. It's can I share something with you? Totally different. How does that feel for you if I come in and say, let's go for the opposite, baby, we need to talk?
There's tension, there's obligation, yeah, there's this weight, there's this burden of, well, I have to listen to you.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a great reaction. That was just flowed out naturally too, is that you have to. It's not something that she gets to do. Now, if I come in instead and say, no, baby, something's bothering me, and it's not about us. It's not even about you. So it's about me. You've probably noticed it. And I want to be able to share this with you. Is it okay if I just share with you what's going on, what my thoughts are?
Yeah. Then I have the opportunity to be giving and loving and just hear you,
Yeah.
whatever you have to share without the fear that it's anything about me and that I have to change. It just is very disarming in a good way.
Yeah. And which is the intent. And again, I want to keep grounding this because this is the part that when people practice the 5 steps, they forget the 3 foundations. First, we gotta have the 3 foundations. I created the problem, I'm the solution, be love. And if I'm being loved, now I can kickstart the process by opening up the conversation and make sure she's safe, especially as men. Men, I'm speaking specifically to you, as well as myself, because I'm imperfect. And there's times that I do it that I don't come in from a loving place and get to reset myself mid conversation because I can see her fear. If you see fear in her eyes, pause and just ask, where am I coming from right now? Am I being love? If you see that, and this for the ladies, if you see your man isn't really listening, maybe he's zoned out or something, it could be because he doesn't feel the love coming from you. It's the same thing. It feels like a complaint, not a share. We want to come from a place of sharing what's going on. So here's the steps now that we've shared that with you. And it's just 5 steps. They're easy. And before we do that, I'm actually going to show you what this might look like. Hey, baby. Um, you might have noticed that I seem a little bit off, and I want to be able to share this with you. I want to let you know that it's not about anything you really did. It's just something that came up for me, and I just want to see if it's okay if I share with you. And I've got a little request
Sure.
also.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the other day, I called you. I left a message, and I didn't get a call back. And I was feeling a little bit scared actually when I didn't get the call back because I'm so used to getting a call back right away, or at least a message to say, hey, here's what's going on. And this time I didn't. And I started making up a story actually that something might have been wrong, like that you were hurt or that you lost your phone, or I just got really worried about you because of the story that I was making up about what happened. And I felt like it was just this empty space. So I started like filling things up. And I obviously I know that's not true because you're here with me right now. And the odds of you getting hurt, I know are very low. So I know that story that I was making up wasn't true at all. And that you really wanted to get a hold of me, but something must have been stopping you. And what I really want is for you just to send me a quick text, even as simple as can't talk would be fine with me. Would you be up for that?
Yeah. If I see my phone.
Yeah, what was going on?
Um, well, I was just not looking on my phone. I was listening to the speaker and it was on silent,
Oh, okay.
which is what it usually is on silent in my bag.
Okay. I'm wondering if it'd be possible if you're going to be away like that. Would it be okay if you just send me a message in advance? Hey, I'm in the room and I'm going to be focused on the speaker right now. Just so I know, hey, it's a few hours, she's going to be out of touch.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's what this looks like. And now we can go through the structure. Do you want to share the structure?
Sure.
By the way, notice I just caught her off guard. So I love doing that. But it's okay. We've got notes on the screen.
Uh,
So,
well, the first one is just telling the facts, right? Like, say the facts as is. So, we all have our version of reality, and sometimes we think our version of reality is truth with a capital T. And when we share the facts, we just want to play it out like it's a movie scene, right? It's like from a third person objective, Like we might say when you when this thing happened, this like when the door was closed and made a loud sound, as opposed to any interpretation or story that came up like, oh, you slammed the door, right? So we just want to present the facts of the situation, mostly to give some context to what is happening, so people don't come into the conversation, you're talking about how you're feeling, but they really have no clue what caused it.
This is so key. So she gave this great example of, the door closed and made a loud sound. And that might sound a little bit silly for the moment. Instead of saying, well, the door slammed. Well, it's really important that we segregate the experience, the facts from the story. And so to give another example, it might be like, I could say, baby, yesterday you ignored my calls.
Yeah.
Well, that has a certain energy to it versus I called, I left a message, and I didn't get a call back.
Yeah, using a lot of I, it really takes, I mean, the whole point of all of this is we want to remove resistance. When we go into talking about a conflict, the first thing that happens is people are very defensive, which is our reaction is we might get attacked. And so our default is to create a wall. And a lot of the language that we're proposing here, the outcome of it is to diffuse the tension and to remove the resistance. So, an example of that is instead of saying a lot of yous, even though you did close the door, okay, but that just causes a lot of resistance generally. I can say, when the door was closed, or when I heard the door close, right? So using I or something that's more neutral.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Just owning it, or actually not connecting it to the other person. And you can test this out, by the way, if you're going through your day, try out saying you when you did something and notice the person's body. Pay very, very close attention to it. Watch their eyes, watch their face, watch their skin tone, and notice their jaw starting to tense. And just when you notice those reactions, you might make a new decision to say, okay, actually, let's take it from a neutral place and say, now, well, yeah, when the door closed.
Yeah.
It's like, it means nothing now. The door closed.
This happens. This works for a work situation too. When you submitted the assignment late, or when I received the submission and
Yeah,
it was past the deadline that I thought we had set.
I love that. I received your email
Mhm.
and it came in at 10 after 5.
Yes.
It was due at 5.
Yeah.
That's it. So very simple. All right.
Yeah.
Step 2. So now we're going to communicate. I'll take number 2. You do 3, 4, 5. We'll go back and forth, right? So next up is feelings. So, and we like to keep the feelings very simple. And we do that mostly for the men because men are pretty limited in our feelings. So we've got 5, and it's sad, mad, scared, happy, excited. So, yeah, men can feel scared. It's okay to feel scared. And we just call it fear. We just have courage. So, men, despite what others might say, yeah, we feel scared just about different things. We may not feel a physical threat, but we might, for example, be afraid of losing love. We might be afraid that we aren't enough, which is really about afraid of losing love. So being very aware of that. But you just name the feeling. So we say it very simply. And also we own the feeling. So instead of saying something like, you made me feel abandoned, like, well, that completely went against every single rule we just talked about, right? You, 1, 2, made me. Now I'm a victim to you. I have zero power. Feel abandoned, and abandoned isn't even one of the feelings. So we're going to try something new. It says, I felt sad and scared. Okay, cool. And the reason this matters is because it flows into the next step.
Yeah.
The next step is about, for example, that you made me feel abandoned. Now we're going to share the thought.
Yes. And this part is really interesting because whenever we share problems with our friends, we try to make it, a lot of us try to make it sensational, Right, because the first two parts are not very intriguing. They're just very factual and almost boring. And it doesn't really convey the emotion that we're trying to convey
Yeah.
of the injustice that we feel in the situation. And so we make up these huge stories about what it means. And that's how we generally connect with stories. So, how we start off with the story is very key because it still allows us to play out the narrative in our mind, but it doesn't attack the other person as if I said, and it made me feel like you just didn't care about me and you're whatever, right? It just feels like so much of attack. But if we started with the story I made up about what happened is that I felt abandoned. I felt like perhaps you didn't regard me in a certain way. But it is really important to start with the story I made up because immediately now, as the receiver, I'm experiencing as, oh, it's not my fault. She's taking responsibility, or he's taking responsibility for this interpretation, and it maybe has nothing to do with me. So it's like a softener, right? And it disarms the other person from building their walls to try to protect themselves because there's nothing to protect.
It's really important that and Annie did it perfectly, is the story I made up. So I want you to hear that for a second and just think about if somebody's coming and talking to you about this thing that occurred, right? And let's go the opposite. The first time they say it, it says, when you slammed the door, you pissed me off. So there's absolutely no responsibility. I've shared the feeling though, right? And then they don't share the story. What they, instead of saying the story I made up, is they say, you know what? And you're such a pain in my butt because you make these loud noises even though you knew that blank, 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 blank.
Yeah,
It's,
I just know that you don't care about the
yeah,
other people. I mean, you're always inconsiderate.
you're always inconsiderate. I know, by the way, I know, no, we don't. We don't know anything. We make up a story. And
Yeah.
there's this science behind this I'm going to share in a little bit. But when this story, because what we're doing, by the way, is we're manipulating the brain and just the natural neural paths to say, okay, I made up a story is now engaging our prefrontal cortex. It's engaging the logic part of our brain here for a second and letting it know, hey, that's a story. Warning, warning, warning. So let's communicate it that way so that the other person's amygdala doesn't shoot off and start pumping in a bunch of adrenaline, thinking, hey, it's time to run or fight.
It's also good for us because now we're separating the facts from the stories that we're making up. So this is as much of it as for the other person. It's really for ourselves to diffuse our own bomb, emotional bomb that we have, which leads to the next step, which is one of the biggest breakthroughs that we've had.
This is the big one. So this is one that we haven't found a system that does this actually, where it brings in the logic, right? And so the logic in this case, as we're talking about, for example, well, let's say it's this person that I made up this story that you don't love me. Okay, cool. Now I get to say, but I know that's not true. Those specific words. But I know that's not true because you know what? We've been together for so many years. You're so loving to me and you do so many things for me. And really, you ask nothing. You just love on me and you come and cuddle me. And so now I'm engaging that factual side again. I'm going into my memory bank, and there's this flow of information going from my prefrontal cortex back over to my limbic system, back and forth and back and forth. It's an information superhighway of pulling in all these other reasons and then stacking them on why I know that my story is not true.
Yeah.
And now I can communicate this, and the other person's brain starts shifting too. And now we're back into relationship.
Yeah. If we skip this part, and we've tested this multiple times between us too, is if we skip this part, what it triggers for the other person is defensiveness because you're just done talking about the story that you made up where they're basically evil. Right. And so the natural response is, well, that wasn't my intention because my real intention was to do this, which as a receiver, I might receive that as, well, they're defending themselves and they're justifying their behavior. So just make it easy on the both of you and do this step 4. And I know that's not true because, and when you do that, the other person feels seen, heard, like you're not blaming them. It just completes the full circle.
Yeah. And we're right back into safety.
Yeah.
right? There's no fight or flight mode. There's no adrenaline pumping. Our in this moment, our blood pressure might come down, our heart rate can drop. It's like, oh, okay, this person still loves me. As a receiver, that's one of the things we're looking at instantly is, okay,
Do you still
I'm
love me?
understanding so far. Yeah, exactly. Actually, this question comes up, and he'll say, "Do you still love me?" Like, yes, baby, I still love you. So it's making sure that she knows that, right? And if I don't get, by the way, for men, I would suggest you get to this step really quickly. That way, she can quickly feel safe, and you can get your request. For the women, I would encourage you to get to this point quickly so that he's still totally engaged because men have a hard time sometimes, right? Staying present. So let's help each other. That's the reason we suggest resolving this in 5 minutes. It can be that fast. Notice it only takes like 30 seconds, actually. It can be that quick. So this leads us to the last step, the request.
And this is you ask for what you want, right? It's not really what you need because you really like we don't really need anything. And need creates an obligation. But if you have a request, you can just make the request. Like what I really want is I'd love to figure out a way where let's take the example of the door, right? I love to figure out a way where because I know I'm super sensitive to sound these days. Like, is there a way to maybe make it quieter? I don't know what that might look like. So you're almost collaborating with the other person to figure out a solution so that we're not dictating the other person to say, you must do this. What I need you to do is just to shut the door quietly. That might feel controlling to the other person.
Or another example, going back to the phone call.
Mhm.
I need you to call me back immediately whenever I call every single time.
Yes.
That might not be received well, right? It might be received like I'm trying to control her, and now she is responsible for how I'm going to feel when she doesn't meet my demand. And
Yes.
relationships don't work with command and demand.
Yeah. And you'll see with our example, John has started with what I really want from you is for you to just respond back to me. And it may or may not, because the other person might say no. And we got to be okay with that. So you can make your initial request knowing that that solution might not work, or we can open it up and figure out what is it that we really want, not the action, because it's not about the thing. It's about what's the underlying thing that we want to address. So like, another way could be if I were in the same situation, like I just want to know where you are. Like, how would I, like, I don't know. Do I, do you have can we like figure out a solution for this? And now it's teamwork and we can figure it out together.
And Annie's way better at this than me. So I tend to go at, well, here's what I really want. So it's quick. And what she does that's really magical, not my style right now. So, but she does what she's talking about is she says, well, here's the problem I'm really trying to solve that she's mentioning right now. So what that might look, if I was doing it in this case is, baby, I'd like to find a way that when I call you, you can share with me that you're safe. Because that's really what I want to know. If I don't get to talk to you, I start worrying about your safety. Or is there a way that we can preset it up so I know that at specific times, hey, I'm not able to answer, but I'm good. So what ideas do you have to help meet that request?
Yeah. You'll figure it out between the two of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quickly, I'm
Got
going
it.
to talk
Yeah.
about the brain science for a second on why this works really well. So I'm going to be talking to a doctor, a PhD at Southern Florida University, but because he's actually studying how information flows through the brain. But what happens is the facts are like the sensations. We see it, we hear it, right? We taste it, we smell it. Those are the facts that we're communicating.
Mhm.
Those facts come through our spinal cord, go up into our brain. And the first place they stop is the limbic system. And that's where our emotions and memory is stored. And so now you're starting to get a visual of how this comes up through our body into the first part of our brain. And that part of our brain, the first thing it's doing is, am I safe? That's the question that it's answering. And it's taking this experience right now, comparing it to the past, and it's finding reasons we are not safe right now. It's going to make sure that it finds those things and starts weaving a story about how this is dangerous. And it takes that information now and brings the story and the emotion over to the prefrontal cortex, our logic center. And the logic center is looking at it and saying, okay, I'm supposed to be scared. I'm being pumped full of adrenaline. I'm supposed to fight or run right now. I get to choose. That's all the logic center is going to do in the moment based on the story and the emotion. And then it's going to communicate the story as if it's fact. This is the natural way the brain works. And so I'm scared because this looks just like the past. Now I'm going to tell you, F you, I'm out of here because this is scary. I'm going to run or I'm going to fight. All right. So what we're doing is we're taking advantage of that brain process. And we're saying, now that I know that that's happening, I know the story's not true. So that's the reason the logic part is so important, because now that creates the logic part of the brain going back to the limbic system and intentionally now looking for reasons why the story isn't true. It's directing the brain. You are directing the brain to look for those memories. And now you're looking for safety. You're intentionally doing that. And the information is going back and forth, and it's creating this information superhighway. We're actually creating new grooves in the brain. This is like neuroplasticity is what we're talking about. That's what we're training here. And so now we've disrupted the old lizard brain that does this to us, causes the problem. And now we're in charge. So that's why this works. So now this request that I come up with is based on, okay, this person loves me. That's a fact. I know they want me to feel safe. They want me to feel loved. They want me to have what I want because they love me. So I'm just going to ask them for what I want. And now they've got a clear path to win. And it's fantastic, by the way. We get to win all the time. There's no losing because now it's just a simple request. And you saw it. Like, that's how we really do it. So I hope that helps, that now you have a picture of your brain where you can follow this path through your brain. You keep it up here and then you speak instead of just letting it flow out. As I throw my glasses, instead of letting it just flow out as if the story's true. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question, because when you were going through this, I was going in my head through a conversation I want to have with someone that I've been postponing for a long time, probably like a year, so or more. And I think and I know what I'm going to say, but then my concern was, or I'm already preempting sort of their reaction perhaps to the request section, and I was just wondering if you have, because even if you come from a place of love, maybe when they hear sort of what I have to say, they may, I'm afraid, and I might be wrong, that they might put the blame on me. So when you get to that stage, because I think these 5 steps are great. How would you deal with that? Because then you may go off script, and then it becomes a full on discussion that doesn't resolve the conflict. So that was my fear, maybe thinking about this specific situation.
Yes.
This is perfect. Go ahead, baby.
I think this is so. What I'm hearing is you haven't spoken to this person for over a year,
No,
or
we speak, but we haven't spoken about what happened. And we were
ah,
upset for a while, but now we just pretend like nothing's happened, which is not healthy. I mean, I think we need to address it. I think she doesn't want to talk about it, but I think we need to. So I was planning to talk to her, but I'm afraid that she may either not want to. Well, I think she'll want to talk about it if I'm gonna. She would probably have no choice to
yes.
talk about it.
So
But then I'm afraid that she may not receive it well and sort of start putting blame on me, and maybe raising her issues, not following this sort of method, and that the conversation may just go wrong because she's not familiar with this, if you
well,
like.
if you recall what the foundations are, which John just put in the chat, the grounding before we even have the conversation, I must understand that I created the problem, right? So,
Okay.
like, let's say I go into a conversation with you, Isabel, and I don't know what problems we've had. Maybe, I don't know, something happened between us. And I go into the conversation, I say, Isabel, um, I love to share something with you. It's actually about this thing that happened over a year ago. And I know we haven't been talking about it, but the reason I want to bring it up is I really wanted to share with you how I'm owning the situation. I really do take full responsibility for it because I feel like I caused it. And I just wanted to share with you what is on my mind. Would that be okay?
That's big. And Isabel, this is a
Yeah.
year ago,
Yeah.
right? So it's a year ago. So that means for the last 365 days, roughly, this person might have been repeating the same issue over and over, and they have no idea that they've done this. They have no idea that you're feeling the way you are, that you're walking around with this pain on top of you.
Oh no, no. I told her we had a WhatsApp conversation.
Oh,
But it
okay.
was, but we both. So she didn't really. Yeah, we kind of disagreed about. We had two different versions of what happened. So we talked about it, but we didn't reach a conclusion where either of us were happy. So I think we didn't speak for a while, but then eventually we're part of the same friend group, so we just kind of put it to one side and started talking and
Got
and
it.
meeting as a group. So yeah, we talked about it, but we didn't see each other's side. So yeah,
Got it. So a key part of this is it doesn't matter if the other person sees your side or not. That's not the
right.
point,
Okay.
right? So that's the reason it's I created the problem, I'm the solution, and the solution's to be love. So from a loving place, this person, do you care about this person?
Yeah.
How much do you care about this person 0 to 10?
That's it. I yeah. I guess 6.
A 6. Okay. How much do you care about this problem 0 to 10?
Yeah, probably 10 because I really don't like unresolved conflict, even though I avoid conflict, but then I suffer because I've avoided it.
Yeah. Okay. So right now, what's happening is you're asking her to change something about her so that you can feel better.
Mm, yeah.
And so I'm just wondering if it's possible that you could just decide to feel better now instead and then have the conversation.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what would it take for you to make that possible that this is no longer a thing where it's at a 10, but maybe it's at a 2 before the conversation?
Maybe the 10 is a bit more like I just want to, yeah, but I guess it's coming back to what you said. I just want to get it out. It's not something that keeps me awake at night but I just want to, it's something that it's been, for me, it's been there that I wanted to resolve. That's why it's kind of a 10, but it's not, yeah, it's not. And also because when I
Mm.
see her, I feel resentment and I don't think it's fair for her
Yes.
or, yeah, anybody
Right.
around.
So do you see where the three foundations might help here?
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So in what way did you create this problem? By the way, this is way better than a practice. So this is fantastic because we can work on something for real. So in
Oh,
what
how
way,
how did I think? How do I feel I created it?
yeah, how did you create the problem? And so this is about responsibility, right?
Yeah,
Is just saying, you know what, I did you have a role in what occurred?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Um, I think I became sort of passive aggressive about the problem, and
Mhm.
well, I mean, now that I hear this, obviously, I sort of the blame on her rather than I did. To be fair, I did take accountability, but only after placing the blame on her. So that's probably not, yeah, the right way to go about conflict.
Well, it's a way. I don't know if it's right or wrong. It certainly hasn't worked.
No,
You're walking around with this feeling. And the real problem that you have right now that you've shared with us is not the problem a year ago. It's that you've been walking around with resentment.
yeah,
And having resentment for someone or something is like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. Right.
yeah,
She may not really even be bothered by it at this. I don't know. And we don't really know what's going on for her. We do know that for you, you have this pain, you see her, an immediate resentment comes up from something that happened a year ago that, by the way, can never change. I have tried, oh my God, have I tried to change the past? I have
Yeah.
yet to be able to find, Marty McFly and a DeLorean to go back into the past and fix something that didn't go the way I wanted it to. So the first thing I get to do is just let go and say, you know what, that happened. So now the question is, what kind of relationship do I want to have with this person? So what kind of relationship do you want to have with her?
I think I want to have a relationship where we can talk about disagreements and we can understand each other's perspective. And we can talk about it face to face, not, WhatsApp, or where it's very easy to sort of put the blame or make very sort of definitive statements. And, so I think face to face, people are a bit more receptive and a bit more open.
So I'm just curious, how would it feel if you made a decision that you didn't need her to understand your perspective? You just wanted to be able to share your perspective, but be
Yeah.
responsible for your perspective.
Yeah, and I think when we were going through the steps, that's what I was thinking. I'm just going to share, sort of, how I felt, what the story I was telling myself, and I guess the request will be, let's when there's something like this happens, I would like to be able to communicate and not just put it aside, because I know she's not feeling great about it either. Long
Oh, that's
story, but I
good.
know. I know that. So recently I found out. So yes, I think it's, and see what she says. She responds to that. So interesting lot enough, she's done probably a lot more work on herself than I have, because she's been to, I know she's been to Tony Robbins events. I can't remember which one. She does a lot of coaching sort of work. But yeah, but still, I think, yeah, I should probably initiate the conversation. But so it's interesting to, and for me, and something that's probably going into too much detail, but I always found it interesting that despite all this work, and don't get me wrong, she's a nice person, otherwise I wouldn't be friends with her. I've not seen a lot of change, but maybe she obviously feels it herself. It's just not visible for maybe for other people or in her relationships with friends. So.
It's highly likely that you haven't seen the change.
Mhm.
It's because perhaps we have a preconceived belief about this person and that maybe they've completely shifted, but we only have the old image in our mind. And so there's this exercise that we've done in the past where if we look around the room, and maybe you'll do this now, if you start looking around the room, and let's do this. Look around the room and find everything that's red. Look around your room, or really look around.
Hmm.
I'm not seeing your head look around. I
Oh,
want
my room. Ah,
you look
okay.
around the room, find everything that's red. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now look back at me, close your
Yeah.
eyes, and tell me everything that was blue. Oh,
Yeah, I
not
can't
as easy.
remember.
Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. So this time I want you to look around and find everything that was blue. Go ahead, look around, find everything that's blue.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now you can look back at me, close your eyes, and tell me everything that was brown.
Yeah. I think I remember one thing, but only because I know what it is. So I know where it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then also, what do? Right? We'll actually change the color slightly just so that you can be right. So you might find something that was tan, but we'll call it blue just or brown, just so that I can say I found something brown.
Yeah.
Our brain
Yeah.
does this automatically. It's called reticulated activated system, reticular activated system. We only see what we're looking for. So if
Yeah.
I'm looking for that this person behaves in these ways, I will absolutely find that they act in these ways. When we clear off, right, really first with ourselves about this person, we can see them cleanly. So I just come from a place of, you know what, I love this person. Well, 0 to 10, how much? 10. Why? Because it's my choice. I expect nothing from them, and I happen to just love people. So I'm going to come into every relationship that I'm at a 10 with this person. Period. I love them. And now from that place, I can see them. And I want nothing from them, right? I want nothing. I need nothing from them. It'd be really cool if this thing happened, but I don't want it. I don't need it. It'd be great if it happened. Now I can have a great relationship
Yeah.
and then I can see them. So perhaps what I might suggest for you is it's not about the 5 steps. It's really about clearing it off in your heart and seeing this person and just loving on them. And by the way, I wonder just what are 3 great things about this person?
Um,
3 things you admire, that you adore, that you love, that you think, hey, that's pretty cool, whatever it is.
um, I think they have some really cool hobbies. Um,
Yeah.
and and I guess linked to that, they're very creative, and I really admire the fact that they can create so many things from scratch, sort of arts and crafts and sort of painting and yeah. So I think I really admire that. Um, they love travel just like I do, so obviously that's we have like that common interest. And and they're really they're really intelligent, and we have obviously a lot of interesting conversations about sort of different topics. So that's great, and they kind of and also they introduced me to a lot of people that now have become really really good friends. She's sort of the connector for a lot of people sort of in my network.
Oh,
So,
look at that. I asked for 3 and came up with
and I
5.
gave more. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That was
exactly.
great. So now, from this state, how much do you love her 0 to 10?
Yeah, probably closer to 10 than I.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So now you might find right now that you've let go of those stories of the past, and maybe from this state, you just want to be able to share, whoever this person is. I'm going to name her, Kim. About a year ago, we had this breakdown, and I'd really like to talk to you about it because I realize that I've allowed this to go too far too long. And I really owe you an apology because I really care about you a lot and I miss you. I miss our friendship. I miss our ability to actually have the conversations about things that matter. And if it's okay with you, I just want to share with you like what I experienced um and not from a place of blame, but I want you to be aware of what was created for me and what I'm letting go of. And I want nothing from you, by the way. I don't want you to change. I just want to love you just the way you are. I'd love to be able to, share more with you. Would it be okay if I share with you now what my experience was a year ago? How do you think that might be received coming from that level of responsibility and love?
Yeah, I think she'll take it well.
Right. And what are the odds that she'll understand your point of view if from that state, a state of love and responsibility, you share your experience, you share the emotions you felt at that time, you share the story that you made up, and then you share that it's not true, and that maybe your request is as simple as I'd really like to continue having a space where we share openly, and I really want to hear your perspective. More than anything, I'd love to hear your perspective of what happened here. How
Yeah.
well do you think that could be received?
Yeah, I think she'll receive that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the setup. That's the reason we like to practice the simple breakdowns, right? And that way you can
Yeah.
get this into your system. And perhaps this is the kind of person who's doing a bunch of personal development work that you shared. And maybe if you just share, I was on this call this morning or this afternoon, since it's your afternoon, and here's what came up for me. And I learned this thing, and I'd really like to practice it with you because maybe you're the kind of person that can help me get even better at this, right? And I
Yeah.
and maybe even tell her I might fumble a little bit. So I want you to know I'm not blaming you.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah.
See, all of these little things are powerful. Disarming. Notice this disarming,
Yeah.
right? And so if there's no weapon involved, everyone's disarmed, the odds of both people being understood is infinitely better. And now you don't have to be afraid. Instead, you can feel empowered and excited, which is a different
Mhm.
emotional state. Excited that you get to finally let go of this resentment that's kept the two of you apart. And I
Yeah.
wonder how that feels right now if you think about being excited about the opportunity to let go of the resentment.
Yeah. No, it feels good.
Yeah. Okay. So how about we focus on that instead? Right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fear brain, right, is always going to find a way it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Your job is to realize that you're in charge, not your mind,
Yeah.
right? Its job is to protect you and keep you safe. And in keeping you safe, it's putting you in danger.
Yeah.
And it doesn't know it, right? It's keeping you away from people.
Yeah.
With that, and we didn't get to do our practice this week, but we do need to wrap up because I get to take my daughter to school this morning. And Isabel, I'm just wondering, how helpful was this 0 to 10 for you?
I think definitely 10.
Outstanding. So, when are you going to do something about it? Like, when might now be a great time?
I want to do it face to face. So
Perfect.
yeah, yeah. So whenever we can meet face to, so I'll try and meet face to face without. We've not met one to one for a year, so I have to do it in a way that doesn't sound very suspicious.
That's fantastic. And we're so thankful for everyone that got on the call this morning. This is a great showing. And we'll go through this again next week. Isa, thank you for coming on, sharing like this, because there's actually something that now you get to go practice and let go of right now. And you might
Yeah.
already feel lighter, by the way. Do you notice that you feel lighter right now about this?
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Yeah. And so that means you took care of it, right? It's already resolved. Now you get to communicate that it's resolved.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
wonderful. All right, everyone. Well, you have a fantastic day. We love all of you, and we look forward to seeing you next week.